Bally Night Rider Episode 3. If you haven't joined us until now and you haven't seen the first two episodes, the first episode we went over the machine and looked it all over, see what we had to do, checked out our play field and seen that it's a little crispy, but we'll get it taken care of. And we looked over the cabinet, the inside and the back box and the back glass and all that in the first episode. Then in the second episode, we started working through our boards. We got through our voltage regulator board, solenoid driver board, and our lamp driver board. We got those three all taken care of, and we got good voltages going to everything. And in this episode, we're going to tackle the MPU, which has some acid damage, or alkaline damage, whatever you want to call it. And if there's time, we'll work through our displays too. But our priority in this episode is to either get that MPU giving us our 7 flashes, or turning that into a Frisbee and putting in a brand new MPU. Which I really don't want to do just yet because funds, so to speak. So we're going to work through it and see if we can't get it revived and working. At least if we can get it working and it, lasts for a while, that's good until maybe things are better, and then I'll just buy a new one and put it in, and that one will be a parts board. But whatever. You don't want to hear my problems. So, we got everything ready. We got 4.89 volts going to the MPU, which I'm not real happy with, but we'll see if it'll like it. I really like to have right around 5 volts, but in the future we may have to change out our voltage regulator and put a new one in and see if we can't boost our 5 volts up. But that's neither here nor there. But we can bench test the MPU and make sure it boots on the bench, and then put it in and see what happens. See if it likes the 4.89 volts or not. Simple as that. It's pretty easy. Let's see, when we worked through our boards, we didn't find a whole heck of a lot. Just some cold solder joints on our solenoid driver board, and some bad pins on our voltage regulator, which we changed out and got new pins in our connectors, so we're good there. Everything else checks out really good on here. May not look the prettiest, but it does work fine. Our lamp driver board, we worked through it. We had cracked some cold solder joints on our header pins, and we had two of our little transistors, the 2N5060s were bad, that were testing out bad, so we put new ones in there. So hopefully when we do get to boot it up, that we don't have any light issues, but that's not saying we won't, because we could have a controller chip bad and we just don't know it. So we're ready to tackle that MPU and hopefully get that thing to start booting for us. So I'll get it out and get it on the bench, and then we'll take a really good look at it, and hopefully it's worth saving. And now we got our MPU out. Now we can really take a look at how bad it is. You can see always right around this area here, and around test point 6 is always gets really bad. And around our, I think that's our little, yeah, that's our RAM chip. If I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, somebody will let me know. But you can see how far the acid has crept on this one. This is pretty bad. I don't know if we're going to be able to save it or not, but what I'm going to do to start is I took the battery holder off. You can see it's not hanging down here. But what I'll do first is I'll get some of this old solder cleaned up. If anybody's ever tried unsoldering alkaline covered solder, it's a pain in the rear end. And I'll remove this socket because we've got nasty little critters, I'm sure, under that socket, and I'll replace that socket. We'll see once I get it out. I'll take a look up in here. We may have to replace that socket as well. Along with this 40 pin PIA socket, we may have to replace it too, because I can see a little bit of corrosion on those pins. We'll pull the PIA, which stands for pain in the ass, and you know, here's our 6800. That's our GPU and the two PIAs. Our 3 game chips, which are not marked, but these are 93 16As, and I don't have any 93s. I have the other ones, so hopefully we didn't lose program. If we did, I think I can still burn the 93 16As. To put the other chips in, I have to change some jumpers on the board so it'll accept other game ROMs. So hopefully we're okay here, because buying game ROMs are about 20 bucks a piece, so you have, you know, 60 bucks in 3 game ROMs if they're bad. And if you're going that far, you might as well just, and you have acid damage, you might as well just put 100 bucks with it and buy a new MPU, and then you don't have to worry about all these little critters that are crawling around and eating up on our MPU board. So, because even, I don't care how well you clean these, and you think you get all the acid off of them, acid, alkaline, it's actually alkaline, but it is, alkaline is a type of acid. It's just a salt-based acid. Even though you think you get it all, that's my desolderer warming up. Even though you think you get it all, that alkaline can rear its ugly head at any time, because it's still creeping around on areas that you didn't think had alkaline on it. Because once this thing starts crapping out, that battery starts leaking, it'll actually kind of, well, it gets into the copper and it just follows everything around. You know, you can see it gets under the masking, and the copper, it likes copper. Salt-based acid likes anything. It'll eat just about anything. I was playing around here on the bottom of the board trying to get that one wire unsoldered from our battery terminal, and I got a lot of alkaline on the end of my finger here, and now it burns. You know, so that kind of gives you an indication as to what it's doing to the copper on this board. Backside of it's not bad. I mean, you know, we're going to have fun getting that socket out of there because of the alkaline. And like I said, the one above it, I think that's the 5101, is the one on top there above it, is, you know, still nice and shiny, so I'm sure that socket is probably okay, but we won't know until we really get into it. I may just replace it just for the simple fact we don't have to worry about it later on. You know, most of the stuff I have to redo this, now a lot of these components I do not have, so we're going to have to, well, at least I don't think I have, but some of these resistors are going to have to be replaced, and I don't know if I have them. I know I don't have the ceramics, So we might be down to using what we can, pulling it and cleaning it, testing it, and if it's still good, put it back in. But if we pull it, then we can clean everything, clean the traces and everything. You know, I don't like doing it that way, but when you don't have everything to redo it and you're kind of set on a little bit of a budget, then you do what you got to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these two chips, and I'm going to get this socket out of here, and then we can start looking at other things and see what we got to do. This area right here really have to work on, and here, because this area right here is our reset circuit. If the reset circuit isn't working, nothing works on this board. So let's get started. Yeah, that's as far as I'm going with it. Like I said, this is not a permanent fix. You can see I took out all three of the sockets and put new sockets in. I had one transistor here that snapped right off on my, when I just touched it, and it fell off. And getting the leads out of the circuit board, just heating it up, it pulled the pad right up out of it, and it was the same down here with the small, this 22 pin. Just pulled right out of there, both sides. You know, there's just way too much acid damage on it. That's why I'm not putting a whole lot into this. I scrubbed it. Well, I used a Dremel on it and cleaned all the little fuzzy critters off of it. And then sandpapered what I could. Got everything cleaned up as best as I could, and then doused it with vinegar. I scrubbed it with vinegar, and then rinsed it off with hot water, and then scrubbed it again with alcohol to neutralize the vinegar. I know it's kind of weird. You have alkaline damage, which is an acid, and then you use vinegar, which is an acid, to kill the alkaline acid, and then you have to use alcohol to kill the vinegar acid. But at this point, I am giving us a 30% chance of it working. It's about all. I have no luck whatsoever. I don't care what I do with acid damage boards. Some people, they can fix them right up without any problems. I know, but I don't know. No matter what you do, there's always some hiding somewhere, and it will reappear. To me, acid damage repair is just a temporary fix. I don't think it's permanent. You know, maybe some people have really good luck and it's a permanent fix for them, but I don't know, it just seems like there's always something going on. Then afterwards you have something funny going on with the machine, and it ends up being in the MPU. I don't know. I think the best thing is to just put a new MPU in it. But right now I can't afford that, so we're gonna see if we can't get this one going. Like I said, I'm only giving us about a 40% chance at this point. Now once I get down, start soldering and getting everything put back in, it could go down. So let me get started here and see if I can get this all populated and see if we can fix it. Okay, folks. I said, I don't know, you remember what I said? It's been a day and a half since I set it at either 30 or 40% chance of getting this to boot because of the damage to it. Well, one, two, 3, 4, 5, 6. We won't get our 7th until we put the 43 volts to it for the solenoid. And I'm not getting excited just because it boots here on the bench. I've been through this before where it boots on the bench and then I put it in the machine and then it doesn't boot. Even with just a power hooked up to it. That was on lightning. Okay, what did I do? Well, scrubbed the heck out of this thing. Let's see what I do. I changed the 5101 socket, and that's the original 5101 RAM chip, original RAM chip working. I have a little jumper on it right there because I was losing my 5 volts. Okay, why I spent so much time on this, kind of getting off here and kind of jump back and forth. Let me finish up what all I did. I changed a socket on our U6. I changed socket on our 6800, both PIAs. All 3 transistors here, here, and here. Diodes here, here, and here. Cleaned up everything. Okay, now, why I went through all this. I cleaned it all up. I had all the original parts on it. And I had a solid light. Well, okay, that means that we do have a little bit of life left in the board. So last night, I screwed around with it and started changing some sockets. Well, I changed these 2 sockets before, and then we got the solid light. And then I found that I wasn't getting 5 volts to my EEPROM, my game ROM. So I jumped that over, and still just a solid light. So I went ahead and changed 3 resistors, and lo and behold, I got the quick flash in 1. I screwed around some more, changed another socket, and 2 flashes. Quick flash, 1, 2. Telling me now the 3rd flash is our 5101 is not booting. I had a hell of a time with this socket because of it being so screwed up underneath that every time I tried to desolder it, I was losing pads off of it. So what I had to do was I had to mount the socket up off of the board a little bit so I could get my soldering iron under it and solder the pads. Still only 2 flashes. So we're still screwed up here. Changed the diodes and resoldered a few other components. Still 2 flashes. Put it in the machine, 3 flashes. That was telling me that my 5101 was working. So, changed the sockets on the 6800 and the 2 PIAs. Turn it on, still 2 flashes. Went back through, checked everything again, swapped out 5101 and the RAM chip, changed them out, put different ones in, put all different PIAs in, and a 6800. Still 2 flashes. Came down to this PIA right here on U11, pushed down, and it snapped down in. And now when you plug it in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She boots. But like I said, I'm not getting excited until we take it over and put it in the machine and it boots in the machine. So that's about everything I did to this board besides, you know, soaking it, scrubbing it down with vinegar and then hot water and then giving it an alcohol bath and trying to neutralize as much of the alkaline as I can so I can get a little bit of life out of this board for a little while if it boots in the machine now. Then I can worry later on down the road ordering in a new MPU and then put this one off to the side and use it for a test if it continues to boot. So I have roughly probably I'm gonna say almost 16 hours in screwing with this board to get it to boot. And now let's go put it in the machine and see what it does. Okay, we got her back in the machine. I'm gonna turn that light out there. Now I still haven't put I didn't put the battery on it yet. So we should, one. Okay. Tease it. And nothing. One, two, three. Uh-huh. Alright, we got her in, and I just have the power hooked up to it. The J4 plug. I just have a J4 plugged into it to make sure. And then we'll worry about plugging other stuff into it later. I have the light out so we can count and see the flashes. One. Okay, now let me, since I don't have the batteries on it yet. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here we go. We have a booting MPU. Now I don't have anything else plugged in, so there's not going to be anything on the displays. Displays aren't going to be lit either. But you've seen what it did. Not drop the target. Okay. Turn it off. 1, 2, 3. Uh-huh. Doesn't like it. One, two. See, it's still not acting right though. We still have a problem on that board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So that's where we're at. Now we'll start plugging in some other plugs and see if we can get some other stuff to happen. Alright, since you've seen that I was having such a hard time to getting it to boot up. Well, it gave us a nugget, so I worked it over some more. Put the battery on it, and I have it sitting down there, and because I didn't want it hanging where they had it, because if somebody left alkalines in it, like me, and it dripped down onto the lamp driver board. So I'm putting it remote. I'm gonna have it down below, out of the way. So if I forget to change the batteries, at least it will puke all over the back box and not all over everything else. And now watch it make a liar out of me. One. And it did. Okay, now you've seen the problems I was having booting that, and I had to keep turning it off and on to get it to boot. So I went ahead and I put the remote battery pack on it. They had it hanging up in here, so I put it down here in case somebody forgets to change the batteries. Me. And I didn't want it puking down all over the lamp driver board. And since it did give us a nugget that it was gonna boot, because it booted for us a couple of times, I went ahead and reworked this PIA socket. This is the one that gets a lot of the damage, and I don't think I had it soldered down enough, because I did push in on it and it clicked in and then started booting. So I took it and just reworked that socket again. We got her back in, and now let's hook it up. I'm just gonna plug in the power for the MPU right at the moment. And we have one. Okay. Oop. Okay, now we got her plugged in, and we got one. Nope. One. 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 Okay. Turn it on. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you notice, the LED is a lot brighter, so it is getting more power to the MPU. And I did clean it up, clear up some other stuff then, because it was just kind of a little dim bulb, and now it's really bright when it does the flashes. Last time I had to have my overhead light off so you could see it. Now the overhead light's on and you can see it really well. So I think the next thing we need to do is plug in some other stuff and see if we have any displays or anything else that's going to work. And in order for me to do that, I'll have to turn you off and set you down so I can get back in there and plug them in. Okay, I just went ahead and plugged them all in. What's gonna happen? Ruin the board? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, everything's plugged in, and she booted up. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we got 2 bottom displays. We're missing a segment, looks like. Yeah, get over here. But we do have something going on anyway. Yeah, what the hell? That's a heck of a lot better. We got some light's acting up. So there's still something that's not right. Let's on. I knew that was going to happen. So we do have some funky things going on with our lights. So that could be really a combination of anything. Got funky going on with our lights and a little bit of funky stuff going on with our displays. So we'll have to go over our displays. You think we dare? That was, I put a credit on. Let's see what happens. Let's start a game. Yeah. Got some lights flickering. Scared the crap out of me. That's the one that the links messed up on. Not scoring either, and it's still acting like it's in attract mode or whatever you want to call it on these ones, because it's still going from score, trying to display high score. So we still got some funky things going on. Let's see if it's even trying to score. Yeah, but it's not keeping it. Okay, well, we got it that far. We got it booting and got it doing a few things anyway. Cool, look at that. You can see the air from the backside. Never noticed that. That's because those two bottom displays are different than the top ones. Those are not LEDs either. Nope. Okay, anyway. So we kind of moving in the right direction with our MPU. At least we got it booting. Not saying it's right, but it does boot up. We do have some problems. We may have to repin some connectors. It still acts like it's in track mode. This doesn't really have a track mode on it. It just kind of sits there and looks like a pinball machine when it's not being played. There we go. Yeah, let's... Yeah, like I said, it's trying. It's telling us it wants to work. We even displaying... Nope. That says 2, but I don't know if that's ball 2 or not. Okay, anyway, I think this video... Yeah, maybe not. Flippers? Flippers do work. The hell did it hit? Oh well, anyway, I don't want to... run that ball on that too much. I want to get that cleaned up before we start I want to try and save as much of this as we can. So if you like the video, you know what to do. Hit the like button. It helps the channel out and shows the algorithm that you like the video, and maybe it'll get spread around a little bit more. And maybe we can gain some more subscribers and have some more fun. So I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. This one has been really fun. I gave it a 30 or 40% chance and we beat the odds. But it's still not right. So until next time, see ya.